A bad performance from Iran in Doha has angered many Team Melli supporters. But is this result enough to put Amir Ghalenoui on the hot seat? Either way, it is time for Team Melli Talk. Another match for Iran in a familiar venue. Hey everyone, welcome back to Team Melli Talk. For our opening segment, I spoke to my good friend Roy Kaviani about Iran's 1-0 loss to Qatar. Let's get right to it. And I'm joined by my good friend Roy Kaviani, who actually attended this match. And Roy, of course, as always, it's great to have you here on Team Melli Talk, but I also want to say, I'm sorry you had to experience that in person.
First of all, thanks for having me again. And, well, it wasn't that bad because I left after 80 minutes. So... yeah, I've never turned my back on the team, but yesterday was a new experience with supporting this team for over 40-something years now. Yeah, I had to leave early. It was painful to watch, and I thought I'll just beat the traffic.
Well, I just want to get straight. I want to get to the first question I've been wanting to ask you, and that is, what disappointed you the most about Iran's 1-0 loss to Qatar? Because look, there's a lot to talk about. There definitely is a lot to talk about, but like I said, I'm starting with this question. What disappointed you most about this loss?
Probably the lineup to start with. We should treat everything. We qualified in the last round. Every single game from now on should be a preparation for the World Cup. So you know your 11, you know your players. Start giving other players a chance, younger ones, like you promised after the Asian Cup. Remember, he promised, didn't he? Younger players, chances for other ones? No, same ones. I think average age hit over 30 yesterday. Easy. So that's that. There are loads of things that disappointed me. But this happened before the game started.
Look, first of all, let's go over the lineup because you got to something I was going to get to anyways. You included this in your response. So look, with the starters, right? Bayram Van was in goal. Let's go over the back line. Milad Mohammadi, Shoja Khalilzadeh, Aref Agassi, and Saleh Hardani. Okay, then for the two defensive midfielders, Saeed Ezatolahi and Mohamed Karimi. On the wings, Amir Hossein Hosseinzadeh and Mohamed Mehdi Mohebi. Those are definitely two fresh faces to see there because, Hosseinzadeh, he's made a few appearances. The new Mohebi, this was his debut appearance. And then, up top, Taremi and Ali Alipur. Now, the players I have the most, what irritated me the most with this lineup is that the players I saw in this lineup where I say they have no business in the starting lineup, those players are Shoja Khalilzadeh, Mohamed Karimi, and Ali Alipur. So, yes, you mentioned the lineup. And, to be honest, like I said, let's just talking about those three players. What's your response to those three players?
Old, tested, and will add nothing to the team in the future. Simply, that's it. I don't have, and we saw it yesterday. They offer nothing. We need to try. Okay, if you don't trust anybody else, keep them. Try someone else, and then give them a chance. But Shuja Khalilzadeh as well in the second half. Just like he lost it. He lost it as well. Milad, 2 yellow cards in 3 minutes as well. This is discipline. We'll talk about that afterwards. But the discipline is horrendous. We had 3 or 4 red cards in the qualifiers as well. So it's not just this game.
Yeah, it's like narrative. It's not like it just happens once in a long while. Happens once in a long while. You say, okay, you're upset about it. You move on. You just got to find a way to fight back, make some adjustments. But yeah, like you said, there's a lack of discipline with Amir Ghalenoui as head coach of Iran. We've seen a lot of red flags with this guy as head coach. And, what's more ridiculous to me is that he has a lot of supporters, a lot of people who just like to talk about his win percentage after coaching a certain amount of games. And these are the same people that don't even realize that he's never coached in the World Cup. He's never really beaten that great of quality opponents. His only moment that he just wants to, glorify is that win against Japan in the Asian Cup in the quarterfinals. And, this is why this is just comedy to me. What would happen if he were to be head coach of Iran in the World Cup against much better opposition? Is he going to be really that excited to use a 37-year-old Shoja Khalilzadeh against some of the top, against some of the best players, against some of the best footballers in the world?
You know what it is? He beat teams like North Korea and I don't want to name countries, Vietnam, and the lower ranked countries. Other teams, England, Brazil, France, they would look at us and think, "Oh, here you go, that's Vietnam. That's our Vietnam. Iran is their Vietnam." You're not gonna go and beat those teams or get anything from them playing like this. Oh, these players, 36 years old. If you watch Spain and France yesterday, you'll know exactly what I'm talking. We will get back. I'm telling you, we play Spain now, they'll score 10. If England scored 6 on us in the World Cup, Spain will score 10. They scored 5 on France yesterday. The Kalinoi supporters need to know we're not going to get good results against these strong teams unless we have a good setup, with Kirsch did. And he gave us a small chance in 2014 and 2018, and almost the same players in 2022. But you can't play with these players again. They're 36, 35 years old now. Done. Try younger kids, and no one's going to blame you. But he's not going to do it. He needs to go.
And look, that right now gets me to something else involving the lineup. Going into the match, I was already in a bad mood, in a bad funk, because I saw also, the starting lineup was one thing. That was not really putting me, I'll be honest, that was not putting me in a bad mood. What put me in a bad mood was the overall game day roster. And look, these are the players that were left out of the roster. One of them was Mohamed Khalife, 20-year-old keeper from Aluminium Arak. The other was center back Amin Hasbavi of Sepahan. He was left off the squad. Another player that was left off the squad, Mohamed Gorbani, 24-year-old, central, defensive midfielder. And the one that still continues to make me just really, lose it is that Javad Hossein-Nejad, who's been doing pretty well with Dinamo Makhachkala in the Russian Premier League, 21 years old. He was left off the roster. And this comes to a question I've also been wanting to ask you. What is Amir Galanoi's deal with treating Hossein-Nejad so poorly? I mean, he's a creative and young attacking midfielder. This is something Iran lacks, something Iran needs. Why does Amir Galanoi think that he doesn't? Why does he think that an attacking midfielder is not important to be successful in the sport?
I have no clue. I mean, the man shouldn't even be a coach to start with. The only thing I was thinking of yesterday, these players playing in Europe, they don't keep the ball too much. So you get the ball, split of a second, you pass it and you move. And maybe that way of playing football doesn't suit them, because you see all the players we've got, they keep the ball and run with it, lose it, run back. And it's like watching 70s football. That team yesterday, 70s football, there's nothing modern about this. And maybe that's what it is. He doesn't want players. I saw Taremi looked frustrated yesterday for a bit, and he looked like he was playing a 10. He was a central attacking midfielder. Yeah, he didn't look like a number 9. He looked like a number 10. I have no idea what he's doing yesterday. Wrong positioning, and he's got no clue. Unfortunately, we're stuck with this man. We can't do anything. So what are you going to do? He's got no clue. He should not be a manager.
Yep, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't a fan with him when he was head coach. I wasn't a fan of him the first time he was the head coach. And the fact that they brought him back for a second time, I still was not a fan of that. Not at all. Absolutely not. And, right now, so let's talk about how that first half went. I remember you, like I said, you were at the match. We were communicating a little bit during the match. Iran started off, the first 10 minutes or so, Iran started off playing, definitely looking like the better team, majority of possession. And, Qatar was on the defensive a lot. But then Qatar started to turn things around. And when I look back at this match, even before the red card, what I don't like when looking back at the film is that there's lots of times where Iran was sitting back a little too much. They were giving too much respect to this Qatari team. And that just does not make any sense to me. I don't care that you're been hit by the injury bug, you're trying out some new faces. Iran still has a lot more talent. And they just look like a team that was just, a little bit like, it's like they showed up not ready to play. It's like, where is their confidence? Something's up, I want to say. I mean, of course, I'm not about to get into all kinds of speculation. But then, so like I said, those are the few things I had to share. And then the goal scored by Pedro. I remember sharing a tweet after that goal, and all I said was a lot of ball watching by Iran on the goal scored by Qatar. And, I'll share some images too. And on that goal, Iran had 6 players in the box. Qatar had only 3. And that was not a good goal to allow. The ball watching was there. And once again, I got to throw some criticism at Shoja Khalilzadeh. And I think, and also, yes, this probably has not been very easy for me, but Ali Reza Baranvan could have done better on that goal as well.
Should have done better, yeah. But as you said, it was a lack of respect, discipline. I saw on the day before, so on Wednesday, I saw half of the Team Melli staff in Villaggio Mall walking around and shopping and stuff. So they were here on holiday. They're not preparing for a match properly. Once it's not fixed here, it's not fixed anywhere else. And if all the staff of the team are gone and doing some shopping the day before the game, I know we qualified and stuff, but imagine if we didn't qualify and we had to win that yesterday, playing like this. So yeah, it's lack of professionalism and the ball watching and this laziness. And I think we played a bit better for 5-6 minutes after we conceded the goal. I think the players were like, we actually 1-0 down now, and they went for it. And I thought we could have come back better in the second half. It was just worse. And I feel sorry for Taremi. This guy will be a machine in any other team, giving him service as a number 9, not playing him as a 10, doing all the graft for them. And if you remember in the Asian Cup, playing him on the left wing instead of Mohabi, the original one, or the Timo one. So I don't know. The coach needs to go, man. Anyone who defends him now, I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Going into the match, I was on social media, seeing what people had to say on X. And, a lot of people, like these same fans who love Gallinoi, I don't know what their deal is. Some of them are saying things like, oh, no, they're saying that cannot be playing a young team against Qatar. This match is on the road, away from home. Improving FIFA ranking is still really important. And this just continues to be one of those things of just making excuses for this coach. I don't understand why anyone needs to make excuses for him. They've been making excuses for him all along. I remember over a year ago, even over a year ago, when I was vouching for bringing more younger guys in the squad, you have people coming up with excuses like, oh, the under-23 team didn't do well at the Asian games. And, I have never once said replace the whole team with the under-23 players. That makes no sense at all, whatever. But there's no problem at all. There's nothing wrong with bringing 2 or 3 players, possibly into the starting lineup or just having them come on as second half subs. Who were the second half subs yesterday? Okay, Saman Ghoddos is a solid player. I've always respected him, but he's getting older. Ruzbe Cheshmi came on. I mean, yes, he was the hero in that match against Wales. But also bringing on Shahryar Moganlu. I mean, these are the substitutes that do not get you excited. And what's so ridiculous as well is, look at that. This whole concern of, just imagine what goes through Amir Galinoi's head. Just thinking of, these young guys aren't ready yet. These young guys aren't ready yet. We got to go with the older guys. These are the ones who are going to get things done. He has thrown younger players under the bus before. The older players have made mistakes. I cannot believe and never gets through his head that he cannot just say, maybe playing some of the younger guys might give me a better chance to win.
Yeah. He doesn't think like this at all. For me, a 26-year-old compared to a 36-year-old, the 26-year-old wins for me. He's got more pace, fitness, running, endurance, stamina, everything. So I'd rather have this guy playing against Qatar, surrounded by a few experienced players, than having a 36-year-old whose legs are gone by the 40th minute, which is our case anyway. And then for those, I would call them happy clappers. We call them Newcastle, we call them happy clappers. So, we've got the same issue. The coach is never wrong. As long as you're winning, he's never wrong. Which is happening with us. If you love Iran, if you love your country for 1%, you'd want this guy out. And biggest example of worrying about FIFA ranking and stuff, Japan was playing Australia yesterday, He changed his team. He put the kids, gave them a chance. He knows his full 11 and all sorts. He gave those kids a chance, see what happens, and they lost. No one's going to blame him because out of that team he put yesterday, he might pick one or two and they might go to the World Cup. Unlike our coach. Because it was up to me, besides Taremi and maybe one or two more, I would pick no one from that team yesterday.
So I know exactly what you're talking about with Japan. I know exactly what you're talking about. I even saw him answer a question. I believe I saw a quote of him answering a question in a press conference. They asked him about his lineup. He said he wanted to test out a lot of his players in a high pressure situation. And that's what a quality coach does. A quality coach says to his younger players, hey, you're starting. I'm confident in you. I believe in you. I want to see what you can do out there. That's what a good coach does. Instead, Team Melli has a coach who basically just says, okay, the other guys are the best players. And not just that, look, let's go back to a player like Shoja Khaliazadeh. It's one thing to be selecting players based on their experience. It's one thing to be doing that. But also, he's not putting the best players on the pitch by just being overly loyal to some players. And look, I'm going to say something that a lot of people probably would not expect me to say. Do I have some sympathy? Do I have a heart for Shoja Khaliazadeh in that he was very upset that he didn't get to play at the last World Cup? And also considering the fact that he played a lot as a starting center back during qualifying, yes, I absolutely feel for him there. He did deserve the opportunity to play a little bit at the 2022 World Cup. I understand his frustration, but we've gone past that tournament. And Amir Galanoui, the answer is not, oh, I feel so bad for him. Let me keep on giving him playing time because I want to make him happy. You're hurting the team by doing that. He's hurting the team by just, doing the things. He's hurting the team by trying to be overly nice to the players he cares so much about. And this sends a really bad message in the locker room.
Exactly, yeah. So what should a coach do, really? It's called a clean slate. So after the next game, the coach comes in, you wipe all the names out of your head, and you watch the league again. And then you start picking. That's what proper coaches do. And you're performing on week to week with your club. That's what gives you the right to play for the national team, not by names. So he's just went and picked players, right, left, and center, his friends and the ones you like. And then the young ones who should have had a chance didn't. And he's probably going to do the same thing next week against Korea. It's North Korea. It's exactly the same. He's not going to change. He's lied to us. He said after the Asian Cup, he's going to go with younger players. He didn't. He lied.
To be honest, the home game against North Korea, I do expect a few changes because when I look back at when I remember looking back at some qualifiers, not the current round we're in, the previous round, when Iran was in the same group, with Hong Kong, with Hong Kong, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan. I remember towards the end of that round, Iran had a road fixture against Hong Kong, and then a home match against Uzbekistan, where Uzbekistan ended up being another dull 0-0 stalemate. In that 0-0 stalemate against Uzbekistan, yes, Galanoui used his his totally predictable lineup, no surprises. But the match before that against Hong Kong, he did experiment a little bit. I mean, I think I remember seeing Arya Yousefi starting at right back. I believe Amin Hasbavi was also in the starting lineup. So all I'm saying is that he did experiment a little bit against Hong Kong. And that's why I think this time at home against North Korea, I think he will experiment a tiny bit more. I mean, will Javad Hossein-Nejad get some playing time? Well, that I can't even make a prediction about that because I guess because according to Amir Galanoui, an attacking midfielder is not that important. So I mean, who knows? I mean, I would just love it though if we were to see Taremi starting up top by himself. Surround him with some two other wingers and an attacking midfielder. That's what I would like to see. But there's no need for me to make predictions about it because what can we do, right?
I still don't understand why was he playing him as a central attacking midfielder yesterday. It's weird, it's strange. You got probably Asia's best number 9 in Asia at the moment, playing for Inter Milan, playing him as a 10. What are you trying to be like some sort of genius? I can change things. I can create things. No, he's a number 9. He should play number 9. And it was a blessing because no one, when him and Sardar are there, he's shuffling the team around. So as Moon wasn't there yesterday, so there you go. You got a blessing. He's a number 9, playing number 9. Get the players to serve him. He didn't do it. It's useless. I don't know. I don't know what school of football he graduated from, and this is weird. I hope he's watching this because he knows it. I don't know if he knows it or not because probably in his head he's doing the right thing.
Right now I understand it's easy for us to be frustrated. I mean, to be honest, I don't really want to use the term frustrated. It's just at this point it's being irritated, because you brought up a very good point. Players being injured, like you said, this was the perfect opportunity to say, okay, let's start Taremi up top, surround, have some attackers that will be able to support him. You're right. That was a very good scenario. That was a very good scenario. But, obviously that didn't happen. He put in Ali Alipour, one of the other, the second top scorer of the Persian Gulf Pro League. And, Ali Alipour, I think he's only about 28 or 29 years old. To me, he is the same exact kind of player as Shahriar Moghonlu. I got to go back to something you said because I remember commenting on this on X. I'll have to look for it, to be honest. But, Gallinoi also chooses his words very carefully. He said, we got to got to integrate younger players. He said that after the Asian Cup. Well, the problem is he didn't say anything about integrating players that were under 20 years old or under 20 or the U21 or under 20 players, possibly even 19-year-old players. He didn't say that. He just said younger players. So I remember saying bringing on a guy like, Ali Alipour or Shahriar Moghonlu, those guys are younger than Karim Ansari Fard and Mehdi Taremi. So in his eyes, that's making the team younger, but just by, maybe this much younger.
3 years. Yeah, 3 years younger. And they were that rubbish. Yeah. And they were that rubbish. They couldn't make the national team for the last 8 years. And now they're making it when they're 29 and 28. It's unbelievable.
It is. I'm getting close to wrapping up this segment, Roy. Of course, as always, really appreciate you taking the time to be here. But I'm going to finish with one last question. There's a lot of people that have been making a lot of excuses for Amir Gallinoi, like I've been saying before. And right now, some of those same people also say that we are 1 year away from the World Cup and that it is too late to make a coaching change now. What do you say to those people?
It's not. We've got 1 game left in the group, fine. Then you've got about 4 FIFA days before the World Cup or 4 FIFA weeks before the World Cup. You've got 8 games to prepare for. And then you've got this 3 weeks or 4 weeks after this, between ending of the season and the start of the World Cup. Get rid of him after the North Korea game. Get someone who knows what he's doing without anybody being involved in what he's doing, and then see what happens. That's it. Stop picking players that you like and doing the friendship stuff. But with him, I don't. If we go to the World Cup with him, it's going to be embarrassing. That's why we're not worried because we worried. We just watch the games and we're going to get beat. Doesn't matter. But we want the team to play with honor. And when we finish the game, you go out with your head left. It's like in the World Cup, we lost 6-2. Okay, the next game we won. Our last game, we were within minutes. Maybe we could have qualified. But you leave the World Cup with your head held high. With this guy, it's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be absolutely embarrassing. And he's going to have an excuse afterwards. So I'm just hoping North Korea is his last game. We've got a year to prepare for the World Cup and 8 FIFA match days and 3-4 weeks to prepare for the World Cup. Anyone who thinks it's too late knows nothing about football and how it works.
And, I'll just go ahead and also add that, for all the people that think I just am for all the people who think that I am, overly critical of Gallinoi, I just want to add that I have said before that I would support him 100% if he were to put the best players on the pitch and call up the best players as well and give the younger guys the opportunity. We haven't been seeing that. So therefore, there's no need for me to keep on repeating the same thing. I'm with you 100%. Of course, I would like to see Team Melli having a new head coach. But like I said, Roy, thank you for taking the time. Always a pleasure to have you on Team Melli Talk.
Always a pleasure. And I'm sorry for leaving them. I still feel bad for leaving about 10 minutes early, but it was a disaster to watch. And hopefully when we say Girat and we sing and stuff, come on, just fight for your country. You can't keep doing this. Let's hope for the best and hope he's gone.
In terms of all-time history, Iran has always gotten the better of North Korea. And the same also applies to World Cup qualifying. The last meeting between these teams took place in November 2024 in Laos. Iran scored a 3-2 victory that day. 2 goals were scored by Mohammad Mohebi. The other was scored by Mehdi Gaidi. North Korea is coming off a 2-2 draw with Kyrgyzstan in Riyadh, and the North Koreans actually squandered a 2-goal lead. The head coach of North Korea is Sin Young-nam. The former midfielder played for North Korea from 2004 to 2010. As for the players to watch, here they are. Jang Kook-chol, the captain and anchor of the North Korean backline. Then we have Ri Il-sung and Ri Jo-guk. These 2 guys are teammates on Ryomyong and can be very dangerous in attack. As for the keys to victory, here they are. Number 1, play smart. Number 2, pick up the intensity. To make things very simple, if Iran wants to defeat North Korea, the ridiculous mistakes have got to stop. When we look back at the previous match against North Korea, Iran was in control with a 3-0 lead, but things got bad after Shoja Khaliazadeh was sent off in the 51st minute. The bottom line is that Iran's problems in the final round of qualifying have been a result of self-inflicted wounds and poor decision-making from Amir Galenoui. The unnecessary fouls and ridiculous red cards can obviously be corrected, but the same cannot be said for Amir Galenoui. And let's not forget, Iran will face North Korea on June the 10th. Now, to finish off this edition of Team Melli Talk, I will share a YouTube short that I uploaded to this channel back in October of 2023. I think it'll make a lot of sense. There are Iranian football fans out there who think that this isn't the right time to introduce younger footballers into Team Melli. Well, I have a question for those Team Melli supporters. When is the right time to start bringing along the younger footballer? I shared that Galenoui's vicious cycle would continue. Let me explain this for you in better detail. Next month, it will not be the right time because it'll be the beginning of 2026 World Cup qualifying. In January, that won't be the right time either because it will be the Asian Cup. And right after the Asian Cup, it won't be the right time either because World Cup qualifying will continue.